Perfect. Is your last name, what's your last name, dear?
For her, excuse me, so for her English course, I was just calling to say that she's been doing a great job, and
King.
that's
Okay, perfect.
what I'm
So
looking for. So
my
I
name is
wanted to
Mrs.
give you a
Harris,
call.
and
So
I am your
a
teacher
little bit ahead,
for English
a few minutes
3.
ahead.
And
Just wanted to
I know that you've been working here in your course. What can I do for you today?
questions or concerns, and just to encourage you to keep up the great job. My number is 484 237 5478. Thank you. You're welcome.
Sure. Righty. So using subordinate clauses, some kids do definitely get confused with this. So let me put up the whiteboard here.
Hi, Kareem. It's Miss Murphy. Can you hear me on the mic?
And I'm going to put up the sentences. So I think one of the most common things kids get confused with is that the way the project is arranged, it looks like it's supposed to be all one continuous, cohesive paragraph, and that in fact is not the case. I want you to think of these sentences just each one is on its own, okay?
So to keep up the good work.
So they're asking you to fill in the blank with either one of three things: a noun clause, an adjective clause, or an adverb clause. So if you're filling in with a noun clause, okay, that means that your clause is functioning um, probably as it could be the subject, it could be the direct object, it could be an object of the preposition, or a subject complement. Okay. So let's take a look at some of these noun clauses. So the first one up here is you promised. So if you're filling in something and you wanted it to function as a direct object, maybe it would be you promised ice cream after the game. You promised to take me to the park. That would be an object of the preposition. You promised help with homework. Okay, it's when you're filling in a clause, you have to remember a clause is more than just one word. So can you identify something that you would want to fill in for that you promised sentence?
No, sorry. I was checking the lesson, and I also had to let Mr. Lehman know that I was working with the students, so I'm running over to my team. So the sentence says, students like mathematics teachers because they are practical. So generally in this lesson, what we learn is that when
So I want to see a suggestion from you.
is too far
How would you
away
fill
from
in you
what you're
promised
referring to, which is
with a noun clause?
mathematics teachers. Students like mathematics teachers because they are practical. They're just encouraging you to rewrite the sentence so the pronoun reference is clearer. And I'll do. There you go.
Perfect. I love it. You promised to buy me sneakers. All right. So let's tackle another noun clause. There are two more. We're actually going to go to the last one in here because this is my favorite. The next noun clause that they're looking for you to fill in is working is blank.
The gist of it is you're
So this is my favorite noun clause in this assignment because I keep a spreadsheet of all the different answers that kids give me for this because some of them are so funny. I get working is the worst thing in the world. Working is the bane of my existence. Working is what you do when you are broke. I've gotten all kinds of different answers.
here is the suggested.
So what would your answer be? Filling working is in with a noun clause.
But I'm looking back at the lesson.
And you can type it right here in the chat.
Guys, I'm heading out. So that's the suggested response for this question. I don't love this rewrite because
Perfect.
the lesson is telling you that when a pronoun is
Very good. Now remember, I know you're putting question marks here because you're basically asking me if this is correct, but when you're punctuating these sentences, they are declarative statements so that you want to make sure that you end them with what? What kind of punctuation mark are you going to put at the end?
okay.
Good job. Yes, excellent. All right, so now let's move on to adjective clauses. So adjective clauses are clauses that modify either a noun or a pronoun. And I'm going to give you a hint that adjective clauses begin with that. Oops, hold on. I'm putting this in the chat. That, when, where, who, whom, whose, which, or why. All right, so let's grab a sentence that requires an adjective clause. So right here, the man, it's up in the top line. The man blank was taken to be fingerprinted. You could say the man that stole the Skittles was taken to be fingerprinted. The man who tried to escape was taken to be fingerprinted. You tell me what your suggestion is to fill in that blank with an adjective clause.
Like, I just have to find this document, take the red off, add the revised. It says Sherry told Sarah that she needed to work on this. But I can save it.
Yes, but I think what happened was that document no longer exists in our world. Here's what
I found.
Oh, that's good.
I just started.
Oh.
So.
Okay. All right.
Pop that
Yeah.
up. But it was in
Jerry
told. So like looking through all of these. Sarah that she needed to work on her spelling.
Perfect.
So
Well done. You nailed it.
So there is no 0, 0, 0.
All right. So I think that that's, if you can focus on what I put up above about, what adjective clauses begin with, it should be fairly easy for you to finish the other adjective clause sentences in this project. So now we need to just delve into adverb clauses. Okay? And adverb clauses are a little different than adjective, right? Because adverb clauses either change the meaning of an adjective, a verb, or another adverb.
Hi, Change. I'm hi. I actually am working with.
So,
Unfortunately, I have to run to a meeting. Is this a quick question, or do you think you can message me and why? Yes. Yeah, we want.
let me see. It'll tell you when or to what degree. So maybe if we say, okay, I see in the third line down, do you see the sentence, Scott practiced his piano lesson blank? And it says, in parentheses, it says adverb clause after that. Okay, so maybe you would want to say, Scott practiced his piano lesson until he perfected the song. It tells you to what degree he practiced. Scott practiced his piano lesson after the school day. It tells you when. Can you think of a phrase, or rather a clause rather, that would fit into that sentence that completes it with an adverb clause? Okay, it could be Scott packed. It could focus on location. Okay, time, condition. So when you think of something that you could put down to complete that sentence, go ahead and put it in the chat. Scott practices piano lesson 15 minutes before he goes to bed. Perfect, you nailed it. So there's only one more sentence in this project that requires an adverb clause. I think that you get the gist. So I'm going to just put one more thing in the chat here so you have it for your reference. Adverb clauses express time, location, reason, condition. Oh, I'm sorry. The print is so little. Sometimes I have trouble seeing. Or to what degree. Okay? So how do you feel about this project now? Do you feel more clear on what the expectations are? So, all right, so one more thing before you go. I noticed that in your last two lessons, which obviously are on noun and adjective clauses and adverb clauses, that you used both of your attempts, but it seems like you struggled and weren't really able to get up over a passing grade. So, before you do this project, I'm going to reassign the questions that you weren't able to answer correctly. I want you to give that another shot, okay? Just to, now that you've had a little bit more instruction, let's see if we can bring those grades up a little bit. I know you've done very well thus far in this unit, and I think that you can probably finish a little more strongly. So let's have you do that. I'm not reassigning the lesson in its entirety. We're going to leave what you've already mastered alone. And you're just going to go ahead and focus on the things that you missed the first time around. Okay. And then go ahead and do the project. If you would like, you're welcome to take a screenshot of this screen with the chat and the sentences that you've already come up with while we were practicing here, and you're welcome to use them in your project. Since you already created them on your own and obviously got them correct. Just let me know when you have the material, and then before I won't erase it until then.
It doesn't slow down to the next page, and then you try to cut that part and stick it on the next part. So last night, I literally spent like 45 minutes.
Do you know how to take a screenshot?
From here in the section where they belong. And then I was like, well, I'll just
Perfect. All right, dearie. Well, I'm glad that we got that straightened out for you. Is there any other teacher that you'd like to connect with in the VO right now, or are you going to work on English and then see where you're at afterwards?
Yeah, so that's the problem. But
Do you want me to? What do you want me to paste on the screen?
Oh, that's right. You're right. You're right. I'm wrong.
Second
All right.
question, I
Well,
did it.
good luck, and I'm here until 4, and then I'll be back in tomorrow at 8:30. So feel free to touch base with me if you need any more help.
And I think I would like to.
All right, honey. You have a good night. Okay.
Board docs, which is the PSBA.
Mhm.
Oh, it's you're still okay.
Thank you.
There's a delay. Is everything okay on your end? Can you hear me okay?
And
There's a little bit of a delay.